Hey there folks, if you want to keep up with stories like this one, make sure you follow XNews3 to catch all our latest and future videos. And don't forget to support us by subscribing, liking and dropping a comment below. You know, sometimes just 1 hour is enough to make history. In just 60 minutes of intense negotiations, President Trump got the European Union to back down and agree to a 15% tariff rate on US terms. It was a major win for his aggressive pressure strategy, something only Trump seems willing to pull off. At the same time, Vietnam suddenly jumped to 7th place worldwide in internet technology, surpassing China, Japan and even the United States. This success is partly due to liberal trade policies during Trump's presidency, which helped turn Vietnam into a prime destination for global supply chains. Meanwhile, China continues to take economic hits. The United States just slapped a 93.5% tariff on materials used in battery production, a serious blow to China's electric vehicle ambitions. Though both sides have agreed to a 90-day pause in their trade dispute, Trump still holds the upper hand, and China has no real choice but to keep stepping back. The global economic order is being reshaped, with the United States at the center, Vietnam as a strategic partner, and China and the European Union forced to adapt to Trump's playbook. Trump once again showed off his negotiating skills, getting the European Union to accept a 15% import tariff after just 1 hour in a closed-door meeting in Scotland. This deal not only helped avoid a costly trade war between two major allies, but also reinforced the Trump administration's tough stance and its ability to protect United States economic interests. "I think this is the biggest deal ever made," Trump told reporters. According to him, the agreement will bring hundreds of billions of dollars in European investment to the United States, including at least $750 billion in the energy sector, plus more for military equipment. According to RER, this 15% tax deal was the result of months of talks, but Trump managed to wrap it up in just 1 hour thanks to his decisive approach. The final rate was half the original 30% he proposed, but still much higher than the zero tax expectations from Europe. EU Commission President Stefan Lin, who had publicly criticized US tariffs, had to admit that Trump was a tough negotiator and that a 15% tariff was the best deal they could get. This agreement even topped last week's $550 billion trade deal between the US and Japan, marking a major step forward in Trump's America First trade strategy. Analysts say this isn't just a trade deal, it's a geopolitical and economic victory for Trump's administration. Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Steinmeier welcomed the deal, fearing the German auto industry could collapse in a trade war. He said big companies like Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen and BMW, currently hit with 27.5% tariffs from the US, might finally see some relief if the EU holds up its end of the bargain. But not everyone in the EU is happy. Mr. Benlens, head of the European Parliament's Trade Committee, strongly objected. He said the deal was unbalanced and could leave the EU in a worse position after such heavy investment. A senior US official said Trump still has the tariff card in hand. If Europe doesn't follow through with its investment promises, tariffs could go up again. Right after the announcement, the euro rose 0.2% against the dollar, signaling that financial markets saw this as a sign of stability. Still, there's no doubt that the real winner, both politically and economically, was President Trump. A classic Trump-style move, bold, firm and victorious. Europe backed down and the US is once again on top. In other news, Vietnam is now officially ranked among the top 7 countries in internet technology, surpassing the US, China and Japan. Thanks to pro-trade policies under Trump, Vietnam made a historic leap and became a leader in upgrading internet infrastructure to next-generation standards, leaving behind even countries like South Korea, the UK and France. According to Vietnam's Internet Center, by the end of 2024, 65.5% of internet use in Vietnam will be on next-gen protocols, making it second in Southeast Asia and 7th worldwide. That's a jump of 2 places from 2023, far exceeding earlier goals. Most people may not be familiar with what next-generation internet means, but it's the backbone of modern technology. It's essential for smart homes, self-driving cars, digital healthcare, smart cities, 5G and 6G technology, AI, and the Internet of Things. The old Internet standard, in contrast, has been outdated since 2016. The next generation of the Internet is a major upgrade. It's faster, more secure, and smarter. It allows billions of devices to connect to each other, which wasn't possible with older technology. This achievement was made possible thanks to Vietnam's bold digital transformation strategy support from local tech companies and favorable trade conditions created during the Trump administration. As President Trump tightened tech supply chains with China, Vietnam became a leading alternative destination for big tech firms from the United States, Japan, and Europe. That shift helped Vietnam accelerate its development of digital infrastructure and high-tech internet services. Vietnam isn't just a place for assembling products anymore, it's turning into a regional hub for next-gen internet technology, paving the way for what's called Industry 4.0. In contrast, China, despite being a major equipment producer, is falling behind in deploying the new internet because of its tightly controlled, inflexible and censored network model. International experts also warn that censorship and infrastructure monopolies are holding China back in the global tech race. By 2030, Vietnam plans to completely phase out the old internet standards and switch fully to the next-gen version. This includes widespread adoption of smart technologies like mobile IoT, smart homes, connected cars, and advanced sensors. Government agencies are also finalizing plans to update their networks to the new internet standards, which will support secure digital governance and smart administration. Vietnam's rise in internet technology isn't a fluke. It's the result of a strong digital transformation strategy and a new global trade landscape that reduced reliance on Chinese tech. Meanwhile, President Trump dealt a major blow to China's battery industry by imposing a 93.5% tariff on Chinese battery materials, tightening the global electric vehicle supply chain. The United States is continuing to hit China with strict trade penalties, now targeting core materials used in batteries and EV production. According to an announcement on January 17th, the US Department of Commerce officially imposed a 93.5% anti-dumping tariff on Chinese imported coal after finding that China unfairly subsidized the industry and flooded the US market. This new duty will be added on top of existing tariffs, bringing the total to 160%. A clear message that the US under Trump is cracking down on Chinese market manipulation. A senior US trade official explained that coal is the key material for making electrodes in lithium-ion batteries, the most common type used in electric cars and electronics. Last year, the US imported around 180,000 tons of this coal, two-thirds of it from China. According to Trump and trade officials, this level of dependency is a serious strategic risk. Trump once declared at an event in Michigan that it's time for America to reclaim its industrial strength. The International Energy Agency also warned that coal is one of the most vulnerable materials in terms of supply and urged urgent diversification. Following the Commerce Department's announcement, stocks of battery companies that depend on Chinese materials, like Tesla, dropped slightly by 0.7%, while shares of domestic and Asia-Pacific manufacturers jumped. Inside the United States, several companies are already working on alternative supply chains. For example, Westware Resources Incorporated is building a large-scale coal production facility in Alabama. This move is part of a broader push to boost domestic production from raw material sourcing to processing. John Jacob, the chief trade officer at Westware Resources, said this is the final step in Trump's plan to rebuild American manufacturing. The administration has already slapped tariffs on key Chinese imports, everything from semiconductors and rare earth metals to clean energy tech and batteries. It's not just about cutting off reliance on China, it's about creating new momentum for high-tech manufacturing hubs in places like Tesla's gigafactories, Ohio and Alabama. Trump's strategy is gradually removing China's grip from global supply chains. Each tariff is a targeted strike aimed at forcing Beijing to pay for its market manipulation and disruption. At the same time, the United States and China agreed to extend the trade war truce by another 90 days. Trump is taking the lead, pushing China to keep backing down. This latest extension is meant to keep trade talks going and prevent tensions from flaring again, while both sides remain deeply divided. The latest round of talks began on May 28th in Stockholm, Sweden. While no major breakthroughs have happened yet, both sides are expected to maintain the current tariff levels, no new increases or retaliation for now. According to United States delegation sources, Trump remains firm, especially on China's overproduction, which Washington sees as manipulation of global markets. The United States has also forced China to provide a detailed explanation about controlling fentanyl, a synthetic drug causing serious addiction and overdose problems in America. Previously, Trump ordered punitive tariffs on Chinese goods tied to fentanyl supply chains. Now China is being pushed to respond publicly in hopes of avoiding further consequences. The United States hasn't backed down. It's giving China a chance to fix its mistakes. That's the key difference between Trump's policy and those of previous presidents. A senior United States official noted that while maintaining dialogue is a positive signal, China is clearly on the back foot. With China facing falling exports, a tech ban, and a collapsing real estate sector, the United States under Trump is seeing steady growth while ramping up global trade pressure. Beijing's acceptance of the tariff truce is essentially a peace offering to avoid harsher White House responses. One Washington analyst commented, "Trump continues to prove he's the only one who can force China back to the negotiating table." No drama, no compromises, just time. And once again, China is stepping back for another 90 days. Finally, thanks for listening, folks, and we really appreciate your time. Make sure to follow X News 3 and keep an eye out for future videos. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment.